Let's talk about a feeling. A quiet feeling that a lot of us carry around our whole lives without ever really knowing what to call it. It's that feeling of being in a room full of people, but not really being seen. Does this ring a bell? You know, you walk into a space, even a party you were invited to, and you can't shake the feeling that you're somehow an interruption. You got something you want to say, but you start editing it in your head before it even comes out because you're just terrified of boring someone. You have needs, we all do, but you treat yours like there's some kind of embarrassing secret. So, to the outside world, you're the easy one. You're low maintenance, super independent, the one who never makes a fuss. But that's not the whole story, is it? You and I both know the truth. This wasn't some kind of choice you made. This independence was a survival tactic. And that really gets to the heart of it. This fierce self-reliance, it comes from a lesson that got stamped into your brain when you were tiny. The lesson was, if I cry, if I show I need something, nobody's coming. So you learn to handle it all yourself. You had to. Okay, so if you've ever felt like a ghost in your own family, or like you're just watching your own life from the sidelines, I want you to think of this explainer as a kind of witness testimony. We're gonna finally put some words to that experience of being unseen. So what is this feeling, really? Well, from a psychological standpoint, it's actually a form of trauma. But here's the tricky part. It's a quiet trauma. It's often totally invisible from the outside, with none of the obvious signs we usually associate with a tough childhood. The technical term for this is childhood emotional neglect, or CEN. And the key word here is neglect. It's all about what was missing. It's not what your parents did to you, it's what they failed to do. It's the absence of someone asking about your feelings. It's the missing hugs, the lack of curiosity about your inner world. Yeah, they might have put a roof over your head and food on the table, but that deep feeling of emptiness, that comes from the emotional void. And this is exactly why it's so confusing. You look back and think, well, my childhood was fine. Nothing terrible happened. But CEN isn't about the presence of bad things, like screaming or hitting. It's about the absence of essential good things, like validation and emotional connection. So I want to be clear, your pain is absolutely real, even if it doesn't look like what we typically call trauma. And you know, there's a really powerful term for this experience. It's called being a glass child. The child who is right there, but who everyone in the family just looks straight through, like they were made of glass. So, how does a kid become invisible? This is really important to understand. It's almost never because the parents are malicious or evil. Way more often, it's just situational. Let's look at a couple of the most common ways this happens. All right, first up is a classic dynamic. Let's say you have a sibling who takes up all the oxygen in the room. Maybe they have a serious illness or significant behavioral issues. Your parents' energy is just completely drained by them. So they look over at you and they feel a sense of relief. They think, oh, thank God, that one's fine, we don't have to worry. And you pick up on that. You learn that your job is to be small, to be easy, to require zero energy. The lesson you learn is brutal. Having a problem is the problem. Another way this happens is when you have parents who are physically there, but emotionally they're on another planet. Maybe they're struggling with their own depression, or they're workaholics, or just emotionally checked out. So when you try to express a big feeling, sadness, anger, you just hit a brick wall. You get told to stop crying, or that you're too sensitive. And the lesson you learn from this is even more damaging. My feelings are a burden. So what's your survival move? You just learn to turn them off. Okay, so that's the backstory. How do these lessons from childhood actually show up for you today as an adult? Well, they forge what looks like incredible strength, but in reality, it's a heavy, heavy suit of armor. I want you to think about this for a second. You're probably amazing at what you do. You're competent, you're successful, you handle your business. But let me ask you this, and be really honest with yourself. When was the last time you asked for emotional help? When did you last call a friend and just say, hey, I'm not okay? If the answer is, I can't remember, or I never do that, then this next part is definitely for you. There's a psychological term for this, counterdependence. This isn't just regular independence, it's an active, almost phobic fear of needing anyone for anything. What looks like strength on the outside is actually a defense mechanism that's built on a foundation of pure terror. It's armor you wear because you are terrified that if you dare to lean on someone, they'll just move away, and you'll fall, exactly like you felt you did as a kid. Here's the subconscious logic that gets wired into your brain. It goes like this. As a kid, my emotional need was ignored. My brain learned a simple equation. Needing things from people equals the pain of rejection. So, a subconscious vow was made. I will never give anyone the power to ignore me like that again. And the result? The adult who wears independence like a fortress. Now here's the really tragic part. As a little kid, you can't possibly think, My parents are falling short. That's too scary. Your survival depends on them being perfect. So who do you blame? You blame yourself. You internalize the neglect and conclude that it must be your fault. You develop this core belief, this fatal flaw, that you must be boring or unlovable, or that you just don't matter. And that becomes the engine for so much anxiety and people-pleasing in your adult life. And this creates a really dangerous pattern in your adult relationships. Your tolerance for being ignored is dangerously high. It's like the saying goes, to a starving person, a crumb feels like a feast. Because your baseline for emotional connection is so low, you accept the absolute bare minimum from people. This is often why you might find yourself in relationships with emotionally unavailable partners. Because on some deep, subconscious level, being ignored feels familiar. It feels like home, but okay. This is the most important part of this whole conversation. Now that we've named the ghost, now that we understand it, how in the world do we break the spell? How do we stop being invisible? The way forward is all about becoming your own witness. The solution sounds almost too simple, but it is incredibly profound. The healing starts the moment you stop looking outside of yourself for validation and you start giving it to yourself. You have to finally do for yourself the one thing your parents never did. You have to see yourself. This is so unbelievably important. You spent your whole life waiting for someone to finally see you, to give you permission to take up space, to tell you that your needs are valid. I'm telling you right now, stop waiting. You are the one you've been waiting for. So what does that actually look like? It looks like taking small, brave, and frankly, terrifying steps. It means speaking your opinion in a meeting, even if your voice is shaking. It means telling a partner or a friend what you actually want, instead of just going along. It means when someone hurts you, you allow yourself to just say, ouch, that hurt. And maybe most importantly, it means starting a conversation with that little kid inside of you and telling them everything they always needed to hear. I see you, your feelings are important, and I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. So the big takeaway is this. You are not a ghost. You were never invisible. You deserve to be seen and heard and to take up space in this world. The silence that defined your childhood does not have to be your life sentence. The moment you decide to see yourself is the moment you start to become visible to everyone else.